All right, how we doing, everyone? It's my last day in Medellin, so I thought before I would go, I'd sit down with Rich, who's been in Medellin for 10 years now.
Yep.
And I thought we'd have a classic discussion amongst everyone who's living in Colombia from another country, Bogotá versus Medellin. We've got a few different things to go through, and I think no better person to go head to head with in terms of what are the pros and cons of in terms of living in each city. So maybe you could just kind of introduce yourself, how you ended up here. What's your personal story about ending up in Medellin?
Well, I first came to Medellin in August 2006, and immediately fell in love with the city. The thing that kept going through my mind was world's best kept secret. I mean, just friendly people, great climate, springtime every day, and just a great energy. And then I Googled Medellin real estate in English so I could find a realtor to buy something before the world got here, and there was nothing in English. So started the company in early 2007 with one part-time employee. Now we have 7 employees and 4 offices in Medellin, Bogotá, Cali, and Cartagena. So the world is coming to Colombia and definitely starting to discover Medellin.
Okay, cool. I'm Australian. I was living in Canada, and I wanted to do a motorbike trip to South America before going back to Australia. It took me about 7 months to wind down the Americas and stumbled across Colombia. I saw something here that I didn't see anywhere else on the trip. Bogotá in particular, I saw that there was opportunity. I saw that nobody was really in a position to help visitors and help new arrivals to Bogotá with real estate. So that's how I eventually got involved in real estate as well. Quite a similar kind of discovery.
Same thing.
So in those 7 years, I haven't had one boring day there. I absolutely love Bogotá. I'd say, just before we get into it, I think the most common thing, and I think his angle is going to be the weather. And for me, it's comfortable. It was slightly raining about half an hour ago, but it seems like it's brightened up. I thought I was going to get him on that, but
well, the temperature dropped below 72. There was panic in the streets there. They've never seen it cold here. I saw somebody with a sweater actually.
Yeah, well, we'll see. So, we'll see. We'll go, topic by topic. We'll get a piece on each one.
Let me say one thing about enjoying Bogotá. My second favorite saying is, I was in Naples, Florida, 14 years before I moved here, which is a great city. And I've said before on many occasions, my best day in Naples, Florida in 14 years was not as good as my worst day in 10 years in Medellin. So It is great. Every day is great here.
Sure.
And I'm sure Bogotá.
Okay. Well, in Bogotá, it's the unpredictability of it. It is a city of 9 million people. It's chaotic at times, but when the sun's out, it's beautiful. In terms of living and working and doing things, it's really it's you're only limited by your imagination.
When the sun's out.
When the sun's out,
it does happen sometimes.
It does come out.
All right,
it does come out.
Just check it.
Yeah. I get around on motorbike in Bogotá, and in my 7 years in Bogotá, I've been wet on that motorbike maybe 5 or 6 times, where I've been trapped in the rain. It's really, when it rains, it rains for a very short amount of time. It's in the mountains. You've got a mountain climate, so you'll get rain coming in and coming out. I think the biggest, the Paises, the people in Medellin do find it cold in Bogotá, and I think it grows this reputation of a very cold city. But I don't know. I think it's more of an air-conditioned city.
Have we jumped from cost of living to climate? Or
we did.
You're getting off track here. You got your agenda. You're going to bounce around?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Where do you want me?
I had to take because I figured that'd be a first step, so I had to go that way.
Making a proactive attack.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk more on climate when we get to it.
Sure. Okay. All right. We'll get back to it. So, cost of living. Tell us what it's like to live in Medellin in terms of your living expenses, entertainment, real estate or rental prices. What do you think? How do you think Medellin compares to, let's say, a U.S. city?
Well, First of all, we should be talking Colombia, because with a dollar at over 3,100, everything in Colombia is cheap. It's cheap in Cartagena, it's cheap in Bogotá, it's cheap in Medellin, it's cheap in Cali. So it's like you go out for dinner at one of the nicest restaurants in Bogotá or Medellin and have a steak, lobster, bottle of wine, a couple cocktails, appetizers, the whole bit. And then, if you spend $60, $70, you'll be lucky. And that's the nicest places.
Yeah.
I just had lunch, a great lunch. Had a menu of the day. It was a juice, soup, salad, potatoes, fish, dessert, and it was $3.30. Now,
that's pretty good.
So,
yeah.
Cost of living is less expensive. The main thing is the cost of labor here, cost of healthcare. Your healthcare, you can get insurance here, public insurance for $30 a month, private insurance for $125 a month, and the hospitalization healthcare is better in Colombia than it is in the United States. Everything's cheaper here with the dollar, and as long as the dollar stays where it is, there's going to be bargains anywhere in Colombia. Mm-hmm. Comparing the cost of living from Medellin to Bogotá, real estate in Bogotá in comparable areas is going to be 20-30% higher cost per square meter. Restaurants, other stuff, maybe 10% higher. So there's a little differential between the two cities, but either city is going to be inexpensive right now.
Sure. In terms of, well, let's say, okay, where's your best value for money in Medellin right now in terms of cost of living? Because in Bogotá, there's definitely, you can choose your level of cost of living based on the strata system, which is the tax subsidies from strata 1 to 6, 6 being the most expensive. Strata 6 in Bogotá, it can be pricey. I'm definitely not going to say it's cheap, but you do have 9 million people in a city, a massive middle class, which has had an incredible 15 years of economic growth, which is putting a lot of pressure on the upper stratas. So it means real estate in those areas is much harder to obtain. The demand is very, very strong in those areas, and the prices reflect that. So in Bogotá, most foreigners are looking for areas that are outside, on the edges or on the borders of those areas. So, speaking about Bogotá, we're talking more. Chapana Alto has kind of been a favorite over the last few years of people who like the Rosales, want to be close to Rosales and Parque 93 Zona T, but they want to find a cheaper kind of entry point. So Chapana Alto has been good for that, as well as some of the areas to the north. You get your more relaxed suburban lifestyle, but you're still central. So you're not having to spend, an hour in traffic or Transmilenio to get to the more popular areas of the city. How would that compare to Medellin?
Well, it's hard to compare because Bogotá, you got 4 or 5 major areas of strata 6. Mm-hmm. In Medellin, we only have one. That's El Poblado. El Poblado is 125,000 people. It's 75% strata 6. Envigado, Laureles, and Sabaneta are very nice, but they have like 1% strata 6. They're mainly 4 and 5. Mm-hmm. So El Poblado is where we do 90% of our business, whereas in Bogotá you could be much more spread out.
Sure.
But we're smaller, so it's more concentrated here, which makes our business easier. I know for you it's a little more of a challenge trying to service multiple areas.
Sure. The typical lifestyle in Bogotá, I think, is much harder to define because of that. You have many people coming to the city for different reasons, whether it's in an embassy, a multinational, more of an independent worker, whatever that may be. So, that's definitely something to consider. I think there's a good quality of life at many different points. So cost of living really depends on your budget. If you want to go into that a little bit further, contact us directly. We'll tell you kind of, looking at which areas of town, or if you start with your budget first and want to find an area that's going to be your best value for money, talk to us. We'll kind of guide you in the right way.
Sam, you got 4 more items here. We're running out of time. I noticed climate's the next one. You're sort of trying to dodge that bullet. Do you want to talk climate, or are you going to skip over that?
Let's go straight into climate.
All right. Well, do you want to say something before I say something, or?
No. Let's hear what let's hear what Medellin is. The city of eternal spring, I've heard.
Well, even though it's not sunny right now, it's a little overcast. It's very rare. But the thing I can say about Medellin is the best climate I've seen anywhere in the entire world. We're up 4,400 feet up in the mountains near the equator. So what happens here is your average annual temperature is 72 degrees. Your average monthly temperature is 72 degrees. And every day it's going to hit 72 degrees. Now, I don't wear a sweater here or a jacket. I don't have a heater. I don't have an air conditioner. I have a fan that I occasionally use. It's just so great to get up every day and you're coming to work or going wherever you're going to go and you have the sun coming out, springtime, always green. There are no 4 seasons here. There's one season, 365 days a year. It's called springtime. If you like snow, if you like heat, if you like cold, then don't come to Medellin. I mean, you're in the wrong place. It's just the same old boring springtime. Sun's up 6:30 in the morning, sun's down at 6:30 at night, and it's just phenomenal. And that helps quality of life. I mean, I swear to God, people live here longer. So like a fountain of youth, it's just a very positive energy, and it's just so great to have that every day here. So that's my pitch. Go ahead, Sam.
Okay.
Don't tell any fibs. I'll tell about my first time I went to Bogotá without a jacket.
Yeah. So the rainy days. Let's say rainy days in Bogotá. Out of 360 days, maybe you'll get anywhere from 30 to 50 days that are wet. You've got maybe another 150, 200 that are mixed sun cloud, and the rest are sun. So it's definitely not as bad as people say it is. I enjoy it. It's got the same consistency as Medellin, just at a slightly higher altitude, 2,600 meters, which is.
Do you have snow? Do you have snow caps in Bogotá?
We don't have snow caps.
I thought
not even close.
I thought people were skiing there. I didn't.
Not even close. Like
No.
the overnight temperatures, you get down to maybe 8 degrees. It's not. What's that in Fahrenheit?
I don't know. What? How much would you
8
say?
degrees.
8 degrees?
Yeah, 8 or 10 degrees, something like that.
That's cold, Sam. I don't know. People in Medellin have never seen snow or bugs.
Sure.
You
So
know.
when they hear of Bogotá, or when they go to Bogotá and they feel the cooler, not colder, it is
All right.
cooler.
I'm going to tell my Bogotá story. My first time was 4 years ago. It was in June. Now, I don't know about you, but most places, June is usually pretty warm. So I went up with a long sleeve shirt and stood in line at the American Embassy. And people were concerned for my health because everybody had jackets and sweaters, and I was freezing. And it's June. I refuse to wear a jacket in June, Sam. I'm sorry. So, all right, that's it. That's my Bogotá story.
All right. Well, I like it. It's an air-conditioned city. If you like getting around town, doing things, moving around, you're not gonna break into a sweat. That's my advantage. You can get around comfortably. At nighttime, a light jacket is usually all it takes. You've got extra fashion, potential if that's what you're
I know
into
a
as
guy
well, so.
8 years ago, a foreigner, who made a fortune. He got the franchise for electric blankets at Bogotá. He just really did well. Go ahead. We better
All right,
move on.
next
All
one.
right.
Restaurants and nightlife. What's it like to eat, drink, and go out? What's Medellin and Bogotá? What's the difference of selection?
Well, Bogotá is certainly the New York City of Colombia in terms of its selection of restaurants and nightlife and clubs and bars and shopping. I mean, you can't debate that. And when I came to Medellin in 2006, there was 3 or 4 good restaurants. Now we've got 25 to 30 good ones. I mean, all types. Medellin's catching up, but Bogotá certainly leads in restaurants. Nightlife, I can't really compare them, but I both of them have plenty of clubs and bars and everything. But Medellin, to its credit, it's an evolving cuisine, and I'm very proud of them the way how quickly they have moved. But you just can't beat the restaurant selections in Bogotá. And if you're just into eating, then maybe Bogotá is a better place to be.
Okay.
So.
All right. What about going out? If you're after dinner activities, let's say.
Well, I'm 72, so I don't go out much anymore. So I'm not a good one to ask, but
Straight to bed.
But all my friends, the clubs are everywhere here. I mean, there's all kinds of discos and bars, and I just talked to a friend of mine. She went to a party on Halloween night and started at one party, went to a club, ended up another club, and got home at 8 in the morning. So I'm like, I guess something's going on out there.
Yeah,
But-
there's something for everyone. What
Yeah.
about live events, like live music, maybe like a jazz, salsa, these kind of things, alternative
They
music?
have it here.
Yeah.
Not as much as Bogotá, but obviously it's happening all the time. Madonna's last trip, she was here, and
Sure. Guns N' Roses too.
yeah, we get some big names.
Yeah.
Again, Bogotá is going to edge us out.
Sure. Yeah.
My biggest regret in 10 years here is not going to Bogotá 8 years ago when Moby was there. My favorite group.
Okay.
I miss them. So.
All right. There you go. Well, I'll go soft on this one. This one's, it is a metropolitan city. There's influences from all over the world in Bogotá. Whatever kind of music or theater or cinema or whatever you like to do at night in a big city, there are options there. I just met with the owners of someone who just opened up a steampunk-styled bar restaurant. So every week we're hearing about new styles of restaurants and bars coming in. Obviously, in terms of the food, you've got the Zona G. I think I know in Bogotá, I'm not sure about Medellin, but in the 90s when there was a lot of turbulence, many of the chefs went to Paris, New York, all over the world to study. After they've seen this trajectory of Colombia over the last 15 years, they saw opportunity. And they've come home and they brought their skills and their flavors and those international influences with them. And I think that's part of this new generation of chefs and restaurants that are opening up. So that's pretty cool. So I think we got that one right.
Yeah.
I think Bogotá's going. All right, so we're going pretty even here. Let's talk economy. What is happening? How do these cities function? How do they grow? What's their core industry that is taking them along these paths of progress?
Well, that's an interesting question because every city has its different set of metrics. Cartagena is the vacation market, cruise ship. Cali being very much undervalued with an evolving tourism business and a lot of the multinationals. Bogotá, you can't deny that 50% of all visitors that come to Colombia come into Bogotá. So there's a strong, vibrant tourism industry. It is a seat of government. It's a seat of business, high culture. Medellin is a little different. Medellin is, besides being the best kept secret in the world, the perception and reality of Medellin are so separate. I mean, for instance, Medellin sells at a 30% discount to Cartagena and Bogotá, but nobody that I know has visited all three cities prefers any of them but Medellin. We're the bargain, and only because people think Pablo Escobar is still alive and it's mayhem in the streets. But for a cosmopolitan city, Medellin is the least expensive cosmopolitan city in the entire world on a cost per square meter basis. So phenomenal bargains here. And as that gap between perception and reality closes and the world realizes what a deal Medellin is, because with the perfect climate, great infrastructure, friendly people, for you single guys, beautiful women, no bugs, great opportunities, only city in Medellin, a city in Colombia with a metro system, 32 universities, clean water, and phenomenal real estate values. I mean, this is the place, and Medellin in many ways is the heart and soul of Colombia. I mean, there's a very special heart to the Paisas here and to the business and cultural structure here. It's just an amazing city, and you got to come here. I mean, once you come here, you get it. I can talk to them blue in the face, but the reality is very, very special.
Okay. All right. Well, obviously, Bogotá has about 30% of the country's GDP. It is the economic hub, the business hub of the country. It is still a very bureaucratic nation, so if any national company, even though they might operate in more rural areas or in other cities, they still base their headquarters in Bogotá. You've got a middle class which is growing. You've got more and more people coming out of poverty every year. Plus, you also have an urbanization trend. You look at it; it's a global trend, but based on Bogotá's trend, we're getting 1 million more people moving to the city over the next 10 years. That's going to put tremendous pressure on the already desirable areas of Bogotá. In terms of looking for opportunities in that, it's really about where those pockets of opportunity that are being overlooked or forgotten. In terms of economy of Bogotá, a lot of telecommunications, a lot of financial services, But let's look at the two big ones that are coming up over the next 10 years. I think really tourism and agriculture are going to be two very massive industries that are going to benefit from the problems that the country is currently resolving. When you're talking about agriculture, I think many of those companies are based in Bogotá. It is becoming that economic hub of the country. And tourism, as you mentioned, 50% of every international visitor coming to Colombia is going to Bogotá. So, in terms of that one, I think we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
What's lifestyle like? What's a day in the life in Medellin? What's a weekend in the life of living in Medellin?
Well, you get so many possibilities. I mean, again, with a perfect climate, it means you can go out. If you want to go out to eat, out to drink, out to party, whatever you want to do, it's possible, and it's just such a great feeling. The energy here is just palpable, and it's like. It's such a difference. I hate to go back to the States. I feel the negative energy there, and it's like here it's just so positive. People are so happy. Colombia just got voted again the happiest country in the world, and the happiest people in Colombia I swear, are right here in Medellin. I mean, these people they're just happy. They're always out having their coffee, their beer, they're with friends, groups. It's just such a great sense of community living that I don't see in other countries. And you have any option you want. Tomorrow night I'm going out with a very good friend. He's an investment banker from London, bought a penthouse from us, Philip, super guy. And then we have a gentleman I just met from Costa Rica that's going to be doing business here with us, very sharp guy. Has a nice spa there in Costa Rica, but he loves Medellin. He wants to do tour business here. We're going to have a young gal, one of our interns is from England, who's going to introduce to Philip. I want to see Philip and her, see what they have to banter about. And Henry, my sales manager, his wife may join us, but we're going to start at Club Social on 35th, which is one of the oldest bars. They've been here 40 years. Looks like a dump, but it's where the movers and shakers hang out. Fun place to start. And then we'll walk over to Moo, which, speaking of restaurants, has the best spare ribs in Colombia. They're long neck pork spare ribs, phenomenal. It's all they serve 3 nights a week. That's the only time they're open.
But you haven't tried Galapagos.